Power-ups are some of my favorite things about Mario games, giving Mario games a lot more variety and or creativity when it comes to completing levels as well as taking down baddies. However, not every power-up that Mario has gotten access to over the years is necessarily strong or even that valuable to him. Quite a bit of them actually being noticeably weak or straight up bad for Mario to have. So today I'm going to be counting down the top 10 weakest power-ups in the Mario universe. To be clear, these aren't power-ups I personally think are just bad to use in terms of gameplay per se. If anything, there's quite a few of them on this list that I do enjoy using whenever I play these games. This is more so based on how useful these power-ups are when it comes to defeating enemies, bosses, things like that. Or rather, how not useful they are. Now that I cleared that up, let's start with the best of the worst. For the number 10 spot, I'm going to put the Mini Mushroom. I won't deny that the Mini Mushroom from the new Super Mario Bros. Games definitely has some cool uses to it, like a much higher jump and being able to run on water, but the biggest problem with it is it's one of the only power-ups in all of Mario that doesn't allow Mario to take an extra hit from enemies. In this form, you have the same defenses as pre-Super Mushroom Small Mario. Plus, to even kill enemies now, you have to perform a ground pound since you're too late to kill them with regular jumping motions. Sometimes it just feels like the floatiness this power-up gives can be more of a hindrance than a help. But I won't deny that having to use it against certain bosses in the first new Super Mario Bros. Games to unlock other worlds was a cool way to test your skills and attention to detail as well. Number 9 goes to the Bee Mushroom. This is a power-up I really do like to use, but it doesn't really give Mario the most upgrades to help him fight baddies. Sure, being able to stick to honeycombs and fly is pretty cool, but the flight meter the power gives you is limited and you don't fly very fast or very high with the maximum flight meter. Plus, this power-up can get taken from you just from landing in water. It definitely felt like this power-up was designed more around helping Mario get through specific designed levels, rather than a mixture of that and helping him take down enemies along the way. I might be wrong, but this one, it feels like Mario's Luma Spin has less range while in Bee form than he was if he was regular Mario. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it always felt like that to me whenever I used this power-up in the past. I do love how this power-up looks on Mario visually though. It'll always hold a special place in my heart because it was one of the main power-ups used for marketing back in the day leading up to Super Mario Galaxy's release. For number 8, I'm going with the Boo Mushroom. Another Super Mario Galaxy debuting power-up that literally allowed Mario to turn into a Boo. It was always so cool seeing Mario look as close to a baddie as possible for the first time in the series here. However, the Boo Mushroom is pretty much all bark, no bite. Like a regular Boo, Mario will lose this power-up if he is exposed to light or is hit by water. Being a Boo offers no destructive add-ons for Mario either, with the only things he gains access to are unlimited floating and quickly turning invisible to pass through certain objects. That ability in particular is used as a replacement to the Luma Spin too, so defeating enemies in this form is literally impossible. The icing on the cake is other Boos follow you around even more aggressively while in this form because they fall in love with you, and making contact with them will have you lose the power-up. If you could just run into enemies to damage them like how a normal Boo would do to Mario, I don't think this power-up would even be on this list. But that's just not how it works. Number 7, the Red Star / Wing Cap. I'm having these power-ups share a spot because they essentially function the same, which is giving Mario the ability to fly freely for a set time unless he can grab another one to reset the duration. Both Super Mario 64 and the 2 Galaxy games have tons of charm to them, but for whatever reason had some somewhat questionable power-ups overall when it came to power level or general usefulness for said power-ups. Being able to fly around is super fun, but that's all Mario can really do here. It's kind of like a scuffed cape feather. You just fly. It's like having the Starman power-up, only not being able to destroy everything in your path. Getting extra momentum with the wing cap is cool, I suppose, if you're able to dip up and down in the air properly. This is something the Red Star can't do, but the Red Star can collect bunches of coins in an instant if you use the spin move around them, so they do slightly different things that I considered equally useful to put them at the same tier. It's pretty ironic how the staple power-up to Super Mario 64 isn't all that useful for Mario's combat, huh? Gonna give the number 6 spot to the Spring Mushroom. Another power-up introduced in Super Mario Galaxy that I know for a fact a lot of Mario fans do not like very much. I totally understand why, but I guess I never really minded it too much personally because it's synonymous with Toy Time Galaxy, and that's one of my favorite areas amongst both Galaxy games. This power-up allows Mario to gain a ton of extra jump height, but at the cost of his normal mobility and spin attack. Running normally is replaced with this awkward bouncing around that can be a bit annoying to control. The added jump height is nice, but you don't really get any extra power from this jump though. Certain enemies like the Micro Mecha Bowser still require Mario to use a ground pound to defeat them. Like, you don't even need to have the Spring Mushroom to defeat these things. You can just normally ground pound and they'll still die. This is an ability that can't be taken with you whenever you use the Launch Star either, something that the Bee Mushroom, for example, has the advantage in. I wish they could have added some kind of extra move for this power to incorporate spinning. That and the controls hold this power up back heavily. For number 5, we have the Light Box. Now we're getting into pretty weird territory because some might not even consider this a power-up because of how weird it is, but I'd say it still qualifies. A power-up introduced in Super Mario 3D World gives Mario and friends the ability to light up darker hallways and mansion levels, as well as kill ghost enemies like Boos or Peepas. Being able to beat enemies like this is nice and all, but they don't even die instantly like they would if you had a Starman and just ran into them. You have to hold the light on them for a couple seconds before they die, and maybe I'm just bad, but it felt like even aiming the light on these guys could be a little finicky, especially during those semi-auto scroll levels. It just feels like a very niche power-up that's mostly used for utility. Even if some of the others on this list don't really have destructive power, I'd say the extra ability variety that like the Boom Mushroom has outweighs being able to defeat one extra enemy with half-decent range. Number 4 is going to the Coin Box. This power-up was introduced in Super Mario 3D Land, and it's basically the Light Box, but a little bit worse. At least the Light Box can help you defeat ghost enemies, but the Coin Box just gives Mario an extra hit to take while coins continuously spew out of the box whenever Mario moves.
Oi, you! Shut your mouth and look at my wad! Loads of money!
This is a journey into money.
Sure, getting extra lives is nice and all, but that's all there really is. No extra range, no higher or longer jumping, no extra speed, it's just coins. At least it kind of got buffed in 3D World where the coins come out of the box a lot faster, so it's a little easier to farm extra lives with this power-up. 3D Land was really bad because it felt like one coin would come out per second. I don't know why they made the coin spawn rate so low in that game. It was just downright bad. The number 3 spot, P-Balloon, has to be the worst flying power-up in the entire Mario franchise. At least the version of it that came before Mario Maker 2. I will admit that one is actually decent because the controls were improved tenfold, but the one from the original Mario World, and by extension the floating Mario from Super Mario 64 DS, was just not very good. You don't gain any immunity with this power-up, and all it really gives you is the floating ability that the Boom Mushroom gives you, but on a timer like the Wing Cap and the Red Star. And if you collect this power-up with Small Mario, you're still just Small Mario, but fatter and floatier, meaning you don't get an extra hit or two like you would from most standard Mario power-ups. It kind of feels like they just wanted to see how they could incorporate a fat version of Mario into the games. Is it funny looking? Yeah, it kind of is, but that doesn't excuse the power-up for being weak though. Number 2 goes to the Goomba Mask. Out of all the mask-type power-ups added in Super Mario 3D World, the Goomba Mask has to be the most useless of them all. It's almost entirely used for aesthetic reasons. If you have a power-up like the Boomerang Flower or the Fire Flower, and then wear the Goomba Mask on top of those, it will prevent you from throwing your main projectiles. All for the trade-off of Goomba-type enemies not acting aggressive towards you when you get close. Is that trade-off worth it? Absolutely not. It only stops Goomba enemies, to be clear. Koopas, for instance, will still chase you if you wear the Goomba head. This was eventually buffed in Mario Maker 2, just like the P-Balloon, where all enemies won't aggro you if you wear it. But even still, it's just not that good of an ability. It's really not. Taking away previous power-up abilities when you have the suit for said power-up abilities on is just so bad, in my opinion. And you can still run into a Goomba and lose the mask. Like, it's not like you're immune to Goombas either. Like, they can still break the mask if you just run into them. Lastly, the worst power-up of them all, the Poison Mushroom. Introduced in Super Mario Bros. 2 The Lost Levels, this is the only mushroom item that has consistently done nothing but harm to Mario across all of his games. I can only imagine the amount of people playing the Lost Levels for the first time try to grab that mushroom as Small Mario and be utterly baffled at how they died after grabbing it.
And you're dead.
One could even consider these just a standard enemy rather than a power-up, but since they follow the same core design aspects of a normal mushroom power-up, it still qualifies to be in that family in my opinion. They even somewhat buffed this item in 3D Land where it'll follow you around for a bit once it's hit out of a question mark block, though at least it can be destroyed with things like fireballs or Starman. It'll shrink you in Luigi's Mansion, damage you over time in Super Paper Mario, cut your stats completely in half in the Thousand Year Door. No matter what game you see these in, whether it's a mainline title or a spin-off, high chances are this mushroom will be a major hindrance to you if you make contact with it. I don't say all the time because they can be used in a kind of non-traditional power-up manner in the Mario Party games to screw over other players, forcing them to only roll their dice between 1 and 3 spaces. In a way, this power-up could be weirdly argued to be strong because of the damage it can cause Mario, but it's still horribly weak in the sense that Mario gets literally 0 benefits from trying to collect it. Just stay away at all costs. I think that just about covers everything I wanted to say about these lower tier power-ups. Let me know in the comments below what your least favorite power-up is or what you believe is the weakest of them all. I would love to know your thoughts. Of course, if you did enjoy this video, don't be a stranger to hitting that like button and subscribing to WeegMan for more Mario and other Nintendo-related gaming content like this in the future. But for now, I will see you guys next time. Peace out, take care, bye-bye.